Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live chat. I'm Katrina. This is Sow and Tare. We do live chat every Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks for showing up. How this works for new people, I'll explain. We go through the chat. If you have a question or a comment, or you want to share something exciting that happened on your homestead or your self-sufficiency journey, go ahead and put that on in the comments. I'm going to start with the comments. We're going to go through. There are going to be lots of hellos, and then partway through, I have a topic of discussion. So it's already pre-planned. I know what it is. You guys don't yet, and we will have a great time and talk about a bunch of fun stuff. First off, I know there's a bunch of storms, so I'm hoping everybody is okay. We didn't have storms here in California, but I know much of the country had storms yesterday and last night and all that. So, all right, let's get started. Hopefully everybody's okay. All right, Dawn is always first. Dawn said, welcome, Dawn. Dawn says, hello from South Central Illinois. First like and comment, ha ha ha. Still no rain here. All those storms and not a drop. Good. Hey, Eric is here. Welcome. Hello from Arkansas. Welcome. Vase Place says, fifth like, third comment. Welcome, Verna. Verna is Vase Place. She has a channel, a YouTube channel that she does a live for on Saturday mornings, and she grows a lot of stuff in her apartment. She raises cuy and quail and does a garden outside. So if you're in a small space, you might want to check out her channel, see how she does it. And here she catches bad guys. Hi. No, Don's back. Okay. Erica says, tired. Didn't get any sleep Saturday night and little sleep last night. Feeling my age right now. Uh-oh. I had a couple nights of not so great sleep recently too, but not because of storms, so I don't know. Don't know what's going on here. Man, everybody's having hard sleep, huh? Dawn says that too. All right. Dawn's asking, have you ever known a quail hen timeout to work? I have 2 5-week-olds today showing their chase everyone streaks. I let things go as long as your ratio male and female is okay. It's 1 male to 5 females or thereabouts, depending on the eagerness of the male. I just let them figure things out because they will figure things out. It takes a while. There's like a pecking order, right? You know, chickens have pecking orders. Quail do too. Yeah, you just have to figure it out. And Verna is saying the bullies are pretty much bullies all their lives. Yeah, so if it's a bully, I did some word replacement there. if it's a bully, then that's a different story. And what you can do with those is you can take them out and try and put them back in later. But I've never had that happen. I've never done that. I've only had one true bully, and we ate him. He was my first call, my first processing ever, so it was easier. Yeah, you can try taking her out and putting her back in a little later, but to reset the pecking order, but it may or may not happen, or may or may not work. Yeah. Dawn says you might have a cold cage and see what happens from there. I gave one timeout twice today and it did no good. Yeah. Okay, 24 hours, Verna says, to lose the pecking order. Yeah. I mean, it's worth trying if you want to keep her, and maybe she'll calm down. But if she continues to be a bully, I say choose dinner. We had 13 birds to process last night, so I did that. I left one female in with Nana. I have a brooder in the house, and we have Nana, who is a adult quail. She went broody so many times and never hatched anybody. So I thought she might like some chicks to take care of. And she was so funny. I brought her in to the brooder. The chicks were like 3 days old, something like that. And she shut them up real quick. They were the quietest chicks I've ever seen. They just needed some parenting. And so this time we're going to bring the babies in. Right now, today, some have pipped. I have you guys, there's right underneath you guys, the incubator. Some have pipped, and I heard them about 2:00. I heard 1 or 2 peeping in there, but they're not out of the shell yet. So I'm expecting that I'll wake up to babies tomorrow. And when we bring those babies in, I will take the other female out and process her. I just didn't want Nana to be alone. So yeah, so we have that going on. Hey PJ, welcome. She says, hey, I'm here on time. It's okay. I think you were here before I was. Welcome. Hey, Truck 3's Warden's here. Hi, welcome. Evening all from Wisconsin. Finally rained most of the day yesterday. All right. Got some storms, huh? Don says, when I get off here at 9 Central, I go grab both of them and put them together in a spare cage and see the rest calm down. Try it. See what happens. Let us know. Truck says, hey all, made it. Puppies are settled for the moment and haying is done for a while. Awesome. And also, yay puppies. Aaron's here. Welcome, Aaron. He says, good evening, friends. Good evening. Welcome. Everybody's saying hi. Feather Connections Home says, hey, love. Hey, how are you doing, Kelly? I hope you're doing great. And you didn't have any storms either, just like me, right? Kelly's in Utah. If you're looking for any quail stuff in Utah, she's a good contact. Jesse's here. Welcome, Jesse. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. All right, everybody's saying hi, hello. There she is. Steve says, greetings from Mississippi. Greetings. I hope you just weathered the storms well. Welcome. All right, everybody's saying hi. I scrolled too far. I was going to scroll past all the hellos. All right. Let's see. Short Pickens Quail, welcome. If you have any comments or questions or topics of discussion, homestead related, put it in the comments. Hello from Missouri, welcome. And Kelly says, I'm fermenting my second batch of kefir, raspberry kefir soda, so yummy. I can't get my mind around kefir. I haven't had it. I'm not a bubbly drink person. Like, if I have a soda, on the rare chance that I have a soda, I shake it so most of the bubbles are gone. I'm bubbly enough. Yeah, I don't know. I know it's good for you. So good luck. They're saying, hey, Nikki. Nikki, are you Short Pickens Quail? Or did I miss you? I think that's who you are. Steve's saying hi to everyone. Darn, I need a nap now. Lots of people, yes. PJ wants to know, Kelly, where you get your kefir grains. Yeah, I have not done that. The only fermenting I've done is, well, that's not true. I can't say it's not true because I didn't tell you what was in my head. The only fermenting I've done is for it's really pickling, is the fire cider, and it's really a pickling thing. I did try to lacto ferment a lot of Jerusalem artichokes when I grew them, and they were just way too salty, and I did not like them. I did not enjoy them, and I'm also not a salt person. I know a lot of people like tons of salt on their food, and I would rather add real spices. Yeah. Roberta says, I had a female bully and got angry and called her, then gave her to Lucy. Dawn is asking what classifies as a bully. Drawing blood it's not doing that. So she's just chasing away. if she's not like, I don't know his actual class, right? But when I had a bully, it was a male, and he was a bully pretty much from the beginning. And when I let him out with in the aviary with the older ones at 3 weeks, with everybody, all the other babies were 3 weeks old too, he like was picking on the adult male. Like he would go up and try and peck at him, and like as soon as he saw the other male like mount the older females, he like started to try and chase down and mount the older females. Like he was testosterone driven. And then he pecked and pecked and pecked. And so I think that's more bully behavior. If she's just chasing them away, I wonder how many quail you have in their housing. So it could be that they have too much room. I've not really experienced this in aviaries as them having too much room. I've never seen a behavior that says that, but I know Zach with My Shire Farm and others say that at least in a cage setting, they can have too much room. And I understand the reasoning behind that is territories. So she may be just a territorial female. And so if that's the case, I would take her out for a while and maybe move around some stuff in the living quarters. Throw in some, I don't know, sticks or something. I think you have a cage, right? Throw in, put a sandbox somewhere, move, the feeder or the water or something in a different place, make it look different so that when you do put her back in, it's not home. That would be my advice. But if she's not drawing blood, she's not a bully. But on the other hand, if she's chasing the other ones so much that they are using all of their energy and not growing, then that also impacts you in the end and how big they are. So think about that. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I have to say. Short Pickens says, this is true. I have noticed my bullies tend to be females. See, my only bully was a male, and he was little too. He was a little male. He wasn't even like the one I was going to keep. Steve says, if she has claimed territory and chasing everyone and or everyone runs from her or him, then in order to keep the peace, I remove them and put them someplace cold. Cold in temperature? Like the freezer? Is that what you're saying? Freezer cramp. All right. Steve says, you're correct. They never bother anyone while in the freezer. Yeah, and if they do, you got problems, right? Right. Okay, I am scrolling. And let's see. I got a new mouse, so I'm having trouble with it. Okay, I'm scrolling. All right. Dawn says, I'll have to see if she is chasing everyone. I thought it was a couple, but everyone runs. Yeah. It's that response. Someone is running. I must run too because I'm a quail and there's a predator. Hey, Ed. Ed's here. Welcome. Hi, all. Was finishing the pilot episode of Starsky and Hutch, or Starsky and Hutch. I know you watch a lot of anime. It might be an anime playoff. I don't know. All right. Hopefully it was good. Everybody's saying hi to Christina. I will say hi to Christina. I didn't see her, but hi. She usually signs on as Guidro's Urban Homestead. Or did you guys change your name? Family Farm? I think you changed your name. Steve says QuailCon 68 days. Awesome. I will be at QuailCon. I am going to be teaching holding a master class on aviaries and have some fun things planned for that. So that is awesome. QuailCon is the place to be. If you haven't gotten your tickets yet, the tickets are on the My Shire Farm website, and we'll have fun. Berna going, yes. Steve says, I napped throughout the storms. I've slept through earthquakes when I was little. Not anymore, but when I was little, I have slept through earthquakes. Stop, Steve, Ed says. And Steve says, don't worry, Ed, tomorrow it'll be 67. Oh, boy. Berna says, we were under a tornado watch yesterday, but barely got any rain at all. That is okay. That is okay. Dawn says, I did milk kefir, not the water kefir. And Vern also doesn't like much salt. Yeah, there's so many other flavors that you can flavor your food with, guys. The things I like salt on are hard-boiled eggs and corn on the cob. I think those are the two that I'm like, yes, salt improves this. Bullies draw blood and try to do damage, Verna says. Yeah. I mean, they can do damage to, like, if they chase too much, they can do damage by, like, your covey not gaining weight, you know? They might be on a super Olympic diet or exercise. Erica says, I need kefir grains. Mine got ruined a while back. Oh. Thank you. Grandma just tried to pour me some water out of the Brita and the top fell off. But luckily there wasn't any water in it, right? In the top. Thank you.
Okay, try to pour you some lid.
You tried to pour me some lid? Okay. Yep. Steve says bullies typically draw blood because the other hen doesn't move off or get out of the way. When they stand their ground is when they get injured. Yeah, that's true. Short Pickens says technically it could be me or Brad, but generally me, Nikki. Okay. Gotcha, Nikki. Short Pickens. PJ says I don't much like salt either as I sit here shelling salty peanuts. I don't know why they have to salt every single nut out there. I would love to have like a bag of pistachios that was not salted, you know, or raw almonds that are not, you know, we don't need to roast things either. So some of them are good roasted, but you know, yeah, there's a venture for someone unsalted. Okay, so Dawn says she's not drawing blood, doesn't look like she's trying to, and it's 5-1. Maybe rearrange the furniture in there and see if that helps. Yeah, she's just territorial. Yeah, she's wearing them out. Yeah, try that, or you can give them something to do as well. Like if you don't have a sand bath in there, maybe make a sand bath. And you can do that just a simple, you know, a little box and you put it in. The one that I have it with a lid and they go in a hole to go in there, but you don't have to have that. It's just going to be dusty and a little messy if you don't have that. But they will get distracted by that. Yeah, distracting them, giving them something to do is a good idea. The smallest hen out there. See, that's how my bully male was, is he was the smallest one. He was tiny. Yeah. Matter of time, Steve says. Yeah. Oh, Aaron says, you guys have a bully quail? I'm the only bully allowed here. But you're bigger than a quail. Yeah, Don, I think you have some things to look at now with that little girl. It just started today after I took them all out yesterday to weigh and ban them. Oh, you upset the cart. All right. Verna has QuailCon link right there. Thank you, Verna. Starsky and Hutch TV series with the red car and white stripe done on the side, Ed says. Okay. That's what I thought you were saying, but I know that you watch anime and Star Sky kind of sounds like something anime. I don't know. I don't watch it. Don says, I loved sleep during storms. I don't know what thorm is. I miss thunderstorms. We don't get thunderstorms here. The last time we got a thunderstorm, it like lit all of California on fire a couple of years ago. Like literally in the 10 years since I've lived in Gilroy, we've had 2 thunderstorms, and one was actually here and the other one we could hear in the hills, which they call mountains here. They're tiny. Yeah, so I miss thunderstorms. Good energy. Ed can't have salt. No good for me anymore. All right. Steve says, I don't even know what kefir grains are. I don't know enough to explain it well, but basically, it's a fermentation process, and that is your mother basically. So someone tell me if I'm explaining this wrong. So basically, like an apple cider vinegar, I know, like for when you're making the what's it called? I just said it. When you're doing the fire cider, you make it with the like with the mother. So if you get the kind of more, it's usually more expensive. It says with mother, um, the vinegar, this apple cider vinegar, that has like all the starting points to get it kick started. And so that's my understanding behind that process. And I think that same idea is applied towards um, the kefir. It gets it kick started. Yeah. Just like you can get yeast from the air, you can get wild yeast from the air by setting out, flour and water, but you're also going to get a whole lot of other stuff come into that. And the shortcut is start with yeast or start with like a sourdough, somebody else's sourdough yeast setup. Yeah. Let's see what people say. PJ says, I'm trying to hatch pea chicks. Not the best luck so far. Oh, good luck. Good luck. Berna, I have been freeze drying peaches. Yes. And we're actually almost done with these peaches. Manuel right now is cutting up some peaches to make peach butter. I started making some yesterday and it kind of burned a little bit, so we're going to keep those two batches separate. We'll still follow through and see if it tastes okay. It kind of smells a little caramelized, so it might not be bad. Yes. Oh, a SCOBY is the mother of kombucha. Okay. They're all very similar, I think. Yeah. How did I like them? How do you like the freeze dried peaches? They're good. We did peaches and apricots, and they were going to be a part of the weekend review, but since my editing software is still down, it's not there. But I did have a short all about peaches, the peach stuff that we did. If you guys didn't see the short, look that up. Yeah, what it does is it amplifies the flavor. So the peaches that we have off of this peach tree, the Desert Gold peach tree, they're not like super flavorful. They're good, but they're not like out of this world. And when you freeze dry them, you take out all that water and you save all the sweetness, and it actually does make them taste sweeter, which is pretty cool. The apricots are really good, but we didn't get to do very many of those. We didn't get very many apricots. We had a lot for fresh eating. I think we have one green apricot left on the tree. I think there's some green apricots on the back one, but I don't think there might be like 5 or something. But I did try that. It was good. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Howdy, Silver Creek Aquatics. Howdy. Welcome. Verna's saying use Canva for editing. Do they do editing of videos? I mean, I'm using software that I paid for already, and they're working out whatever the issue is. I got an email. For some reason, they don't do phones, which is really annoying. But I like the software when it works. So yeah. Dawn says I use so much kombucha big time by the gallons until it gave me an acid reflux, and I never had it in my life. It's great for arthritis. Interesting. Okay. Erica says, a good explanation, Katrina. It's called grains because of their size. Okay. I'm glad I got that. I answered it like a test question. Okay, you can do many things with Canva. Is that the same thing that people are using for images? I think that's the same thing. I think Kelly uses that too, right? Verna has a surprise in a short after the live stream. All right. Is it a baby? Silver Creek. Oh, phone editor. I love KindMaster for mobile edits. Computer, I'm still figuring out, working on edits for an aquatic plant video now. Yeah, I don't use my phone for editing. I edit everything on the computer. I haven't really figured out how to do like the shorts that people do, like put things together. I just walk around and film this and then walk around and film that. And then it all goes together because it's in order of what I filmed. Yeah. Anyway, that's when I get technology, I get it and it's good. And it just takes me a while to realize how things work. Once I realize how things work, it's good. So I just am in a funky spot without my editor. So yeah, there you go. All right. Hey, Jennifer's here, asking what kind of freeze dryer did you get, please, and do they take up a bunch of room? So Jennifer, I have a video on, if you go to my channel, type in freeze dryer, you will see some videos and you'll get to see how big they are. I would say, depending on the size, it's the size of a mini fridge or slightly bigger. And I got the large size. So the one that you see in videos is the large size. And they take up, so the large size has 5 trays, and the trays, like for when I did bone broth, the trays fit 2 quarts each. So that's 10 quarts of bone broth in there. So that gives you about the size of the trays. So yeah, I would say it's, if you get a smaller medium, you're probably looking at mini fridge size. The large is probably a little bit bigger. It's probably a little longer. So yeah, I like it so far. Dawn says, I don't like the shorts because they are tiny on the computer screen. Yeah, I don't think they're meant to be seen on the computer, and I wish that there was a way that they could kind of, I don't know, shape it out somehow. Yeah. We're going to put a link. Let's see of what. Oh, the freeze dryer. Okay. Yeah, so that was my unboxing video. Thank you. And Harvest Right. I need to ask them for an affiliate code. I sent an email, didn't happen though. They didn't respond though. Harvest Right is the freeze dryer brand, and there is one competitor. I don't know anything about them, but Harvest Right was the first one for home use, and they do a great thing where they have a layaway program. It's $250 down, and then you pay whatever, whenever, for however long it takes you to pay it off. And then once it's paid off, then you get the delivery. So that's what I recommend. And it's been pretty cool. Pretty cool so far. Oh, yes, that is true. Ed says large requires a dedicated 20 amp and medium, small don't. So the actual shape of the plug is different. So it's not like you can cheat and go, oh, this will just fit in here and be extra. It has a special plug, which I have a short of. I did that. So you may have to have, depending on what you already have in place, you may have to have an electrician out. And I had an electrician out that he did it super fast, and it wasn't bad at all. Yeah. Silver Creek says, exactly. Yeah. They're made for ADHD peeps like me on mobile devices. You can get stuck. Yeah. And Verna says, Don, the short is before I get the whole thing videoed. the in the now. Yeah. PJ says, I had my bandages removed from my last surgery today. Then went out to move fencing around the pig pasture to put the goats and zebos out to graze. Also, was there more? Or you also put them out to graze? I am happy for you that you have those surgeries done. That's a big thing to go through. And to do them one after each other, that's a lot. So hopefully your recovery is effective and nice. Oh, so Dawn says on Facebook, no way. People, I don't bother them. Oh, thank you, Verna. If you have not done Quail University, check that out yet. The Quail 101 course is up, and there is an affiliate link. Thank you for putting that. PJ says, I can now drive to QuailCon. That's good. That's good. Hey, David's here. Hi, everybody. Hi, David. How are you? I'm doing good. And JJ's here. Hi, all. Welcome, JJ. Welcome. Way to go. I'm guessing that is what it says. Verna is the queen of acronyms. It beats walking. Yeah, it does, Ed. Oh, JJ, you're okay. It's okay. You don't have to apologize for being late. However, I do want to do I want to talk about the topic of the day. We're a little early for that, but we can do it. Topic of the day is I want to go through and see if we can help each other with our struggles. So it's not really one topic to talk about per se. It's mostly let's try and help each other and figure things out with each other. I already told you guys my editing software is annoying me and not working, and they're being slow. And you guys suggested a couple of alternatives, which is really, really good. Another thing that is a struggle is time management right now. We're almost done with peaches, so that'll help. But time management. And so we can start with kind of those kinds of things, and you guys let us know what struggles you're having with your self-sufficiency, and we can come up with ideas and help everybody out. So that's the topic for today. Hopefully we have some good discussions out of that. All right. Everybody saying hi. Hey, Andy Rabbit's here. Hello. Verna says WTG equals way to go. Yes, old chat room lingo from the 80s and 90s. Yep. I have not ever been a abbreviation. Like, I still call the refrigerator the refrigerator, not the fridge. You know, things like that. Okay, everybody's saying hi to Andy Rabbit. Glowy's here. Welcome, Glowy. Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. She says, hi all, been a while, finally got my quail. Yay! It's 1:08 out here in Surprise, Arizona. And poor things. Glowy, I don't remember exactly which one we were talking about, but I think you were going to make a hutch. Is that right? That's been a while. I don't remember if that was you or someone else. But what housing do they have? And the advice that I would give you is that if they are in a hutch or a cage, make sure they are double shaded so they have shade, and then that's in shade. If there is a tree nearby, put it under the tree. If there's not, maybe build another canopy over it. And if they're in aviary, having deep litter will greatly help them. They will just dig in there and settle in their nice little insulated cubby hole, and it's good. But I think you were talking about having them in a hutch, if I remember right. It's been a while. All right. Silver Creek Aquatic says ASL. Yeah, I don't know. Are you talking to Verna? You're probably talking to Verna in abbreviations. JJ says, my struggles are getting my home organized. I hate being inside. I get that, JJ. I get that. Does anybody have solutions for that? My solution currently is do what I have to do right now and take one piece at a time. So, like, I went through mail from the past few days just now. It wasn't getting done, right? I put away all the peaches. That was a goal. Put away peaches. We had 30 something, almost 40 quarts of peaches in different places in the house because they have to set for the 24 hours before you take the ring off. And then the ring comes off, and then I always let it set another day just to make sure that the pressure with the ring didn't make a false seal. Not everybody does that. It's not something you need to do. But as a result, I had peaches, jars of peaches everywhere. So my thing is, do what you have to do now. So what do you need to get to? What do you know that you're going to have to do? And then the other one is to make a list. That's it. And then another thing that helps is shelving. So if you have shelving that has of the appropriate slots for things, then that's good. And then also realize if you don't need it in the house, maybe it shouldn't be in the house. It should be, something in the garage or something in the workshop or something to give away or, something like that. So that's my solution. We'll see what other people say. Silver Creek is laughing at somebody. I don't know who. Chloe says, I keep frozen water to put in their main water bucket. I also freeze water in tuna cans, and they love to stand on it. Just started today doing some electrolytes in a separate water bowl. Awesome. Nothing you can do is put a fan. If you put a fan above them or below them, that will blow the hot air away. We got up to 115 last summer here, and they did completely fine. I have them in aviaries. They just dug down and they mostly sat all day. And then they were active in the morning and the evening and, did most of their activities then. They pretty much just kind of hung out most of the day in their little bark chip beds. Andy Rabbit says, how is everyone? We are doing good, I think. So far, nobody said anything about bad things happening because of the weather, so that is good. Mostly people getting missed, which is good. We like that. Chloe says, I have a sandbox enclosure. Top is harbor cloth and open. I put 2 solar fans you recommended, but dang, it's still hot. It's just blowing hot air around. Moving air is better than still air, though. It really is. If you want to increase that, you can, I don't know how long it would last for that long, but you can put like a wet washcloth by the fan, and that will make kind of like a swamp cooler effect. But at 108 degrees, it's not going to last very long. So, yeah. So Glory has a question. Why do I keep getting 1 to 2 eggs that are cracked? Membrane still intact, but shell has cracks, dents. Long, I know, but sorry. Oh, yeah. You can put as much as you want. Are they new? So you said you just got them. Are they new layers? So that is the first question. If they're new layers, you're going to have some messed up eggs for a while. They get ones that are shellless. They get ones that are like this. They get ones that are like this. They're just going to be funky for a little bit. Not all of them, but they can be. So if they're new layers, that is probably going to be the answer. If they have been laying, if you got them as adults and they're just starting to lay, that might be something different. And there might actually be a deficiency. So I would say, what feed are you feeding them? If they are adults, if they're 8 weeks, more older than 8 weeks old, they'll do fine on chicken feed. So I feed mine a 16% layer crumble, and they do completely fine on that. But I do supplement with bird grit, which is a limestone grit, and that's calcium. So if they are softer on the shell part than they should be, and they are old and you've had them for a while, they're not like new layers, they may be 12 weeks or 14 weeks old, then it could be a calcium issue. And I would add calcium, give them that on the side in a cup on a side. And for me, you can do oyster shells. I do the limestone grit. And then you could also do cuttlebone, which they use in like parrot cages and stuff. That's something that if you're not able to find other stuff, you can find that in a pet store. And you can just go in there and ask for cuttlebone for birds, and they'll know what you're talking about. They should. So that's what I would say. And then you say there's sand, so it shouldn't be cracking because of they're going on a hard thing. That's my suggestion, is depending on their age, they might have some issues based on they're just starting and it's just how it's going to be for a little bit. Or if they're older and they're having those issues, you might add some calcium. There are some females that just don't process calcium well. So that might just be that particular bird, and she just is never going to process calcium well. But most of them do. So if it's only one, I don't know how many you have, but if it's only one, then I wouldn't worry about it. Or add some calcium on the side and see if that helps. Andy said, Katrina is doing good keeping up on the chats tonight. Woohoo! Maybe there's not as many chats. I don't know. Don says to Chloe, I do wading pools and add ice cubes given frozen vegetables. Yeah, it's another good idea. Yeah, they love watermelon and cucumber too. Yeah. Chloe says, yes, a hutch, no trees on my backyard. Yes, okay, that was you. I remember. It's been a while. Yeah. David says, I remember that you had a video on your solar system. Are you still using it? How well is it working for you? You're talking about the solar fans? Yeah, it's working. I think it actually got flipped over. I haven't reconnected things. It's been so cool here. We haven't had use of it. But it had it going all last summer, and it was going really great, and it worked. So that's good. Verna and Verna's having a conversation. I don't know what that means. Andy says, I hate being inside too. Yeah. And maybe part of what needs to happen for that is if you need the inspiration of being outside, maybe you do something outside, come inside, say you have to do this task before you can go outside again. Whether that'll work or not, I don't know. Yeah. But try not to do like everything. Oh, today is inside day. Try not to do it that way, because that might burn yourself out. You might say, today I'm going to do this, and then go outside and do something, and then come back and do this other thing. That's what I would do. Chloe says, I am doing that. Thank you. They love watermelon. Yep. Ours are getting peach leftovers right now, and they are loving that. I told a lady the other day that that she was asking about the yolks, and I'm like, yeah, they get pretty orange because of they get greens, but actually they're getting a lot of peaches these days. Yeah. I have to scroll up again. Oh my gosh, you guys are going talk. Chuck 3 says, I have to make a list to get anything done in the house. Otherwise, I just go outside and work. Yep. And the thing is, if you make a list, I am guilty of this. I will make a list. These are the things I'm going to get done today. And then I will get like 3 of them done. And then I'm like disappointed in myself. I'm like, no, that'll just be the first thing on the next day. You know, you can make a big list and the order can change, and that's fine. You know, as long as the animals get fed and the bills get paid, right? Don says, mine love watermelon, yellow squash, and cucumbers, all frozen. Awesome. Yeah, and if you are growing zucchini, they love the zucchini leaves, and I give it to them with the stalk because they'll actually peck at it and get the moisture in that too. So that would be another good fun thing for them to have in the summer. JJ says, since I could walk, I'm expected to do the inside of the house. It's been over 60 plus years. I don't want to do anymore. I understand. Ed says, sadly, he's mostly always inside. Ed, we got to get you outside, at least on the front porch. Do all your crafting on the front porch. It's okay if you like it, but I just don't. JJ says, yeah. Dawn says, I'm too much. Oh, I am too not much choice, but I let things stack up that aren't urgent. Yeah. So do the urgent things, but then also try and work in the other things. Like make yourself a reward. Oh, I can go outside and do this once this is done. Yeah. Verna's going to have a short come out. Andy says, do not put the fan to blow on them, just blow the air. Yeah, so that's why I said put the fan under them or above them. You'll see in my fan videos, I have it like above, like it still goes into the enclosure, but it's like above the level of the animals. Yeah. PJ says, I made lists on the notes app on my phone, lost all my lists when the phone had to be reset and still didn't work. Now no lists, just playing by ear. Yeah, that's the thing about relying on technology, right? Yeah. Too hard of a slant on rollout. Is that your suggestion for Glowy's issue? She has a sand base, though. I don't think she has a rollout. Yeah. Glowy says, I'll try yellow squash and cucumbers. Thank you. Yeah. Ed says, Dawn, me too. Just too painful to get out for me. It's worth the pain to go out. That's my criteria from going outside. Okay. Truck 3 says, I've had eggs crack from hitting together in my rollout cages also. Yeah, so that's a good point. If they're laying them in a pile, they might be cracking just because they just walk over them. They don't even care that they're there. They're not like, oh, you might be my baby. No, they don't care. They just walk over them. They walk over each other too. So they might be clinking together too much, maybe. Yeah. Verna says, if they are in an egg rollout cage, then it could be too hard of slant. Yeah. Erica says, I won't know for sure for a couple of days, but I don't think my eggs survived the power outage last weekend. Oh, no. You had that happen to you before, didn't you? Hopefully they did. And if you haven't gotten hand warmers yet, get them. I need to do a link for these guys. I haven't yet. I got these at Big Five. Then throw them in your incubator when the power goes out. It works really well. Andy Rabbit says, I would have lost my rabbits the other day if I had them used to blowing on the fan 2 days ago. My power went out for 2 hours. 6 hours. 6 hours. It was so hot I couldn't stand staying at home and had to go somewhere. Wow. Yeah, so that's the acclimation part of it, right? So if you yourself basically live in air conditioning and then you go out and it's 100 degrees out, you're going to not do well. But if you don't have air conditioning and you've tempered yourself, how you're acclimating to the warmer temperature, then you're going to be able to survive that long. You're going to be able to feel better longer. It's the same thing with actual survival with the animals and with people. Yeah. Steve says they will walk on the eggs, push them against others to get the spot they want to lay. They'll lay eggs on top of eggs, so you have to gather before they get a chance. That is true. Dawn says, I go out on the porch to the quail several times a day because the porch is level with the house. That's it, but you are well enough to go to QuailCon, so that's great. It is great. We're going to all meet Ed, guys. Andy Rabbit says, PJ Farms, that's why I use paper. That's still paper still along with technology. It depends on what I'm doing, what I do. I prefer paper because I can move things around and cross things off and add things. And not that you can't do that electronically, I know. I gotta go back up. Oh, I hear baby. I don't know if you guys could hear that or not. I hear baby. A baby quail. They're hatching today. They, at least at the start of the live, none had already hatched They had just pecked through and done a little pip. Ed says, Donna will be my first big adventure in many years. Looking forward to it, but very scary too. Well, we will appreciate having you there, Ed. Verna says, 17 watching and only 16 likes. And I know that a few people are not hit the like button. Thanks, Verna. PJ says, Andy, first time it's ever happened to me. Yeah, backup of backups, PJs. Yep. That's the good thing, is backing up. I'm talking about real backups, not like electronic backups. Erica says, I bake eggshells and grind them up, then feed them back to the birds for calcium supplement. That is also a good idea. Yeah. So that is a tip for Glowy. You can use their eggshells and feed them back to them. It just crumple, you can crumble them up. You can bake them. I don't really do much of that anymore. I mostly, when I cut the tops off of the shells, I give that to the chickens. But you can feed them back to them, and that will give them an extra calcium boost. It's really just giving their own calcium back to them. You don't have to bake it. I would bake it if you were using eggshells from not your birds, but if you're using eggshells from those birds, I don't see any need to do that. Because the reason for baking it is to avoid, bad bacteria, stuff like that. So, which there's no harm in doing that either. So either way. Jada says, Ed, look forward to meeting you. Yes. Dawn says, can't go into restrooms because 90% of them aren't really handicapped, so can't travel. Yeah, there are some restrooms that claim some things that are not true, for sure. Truck says, when I was in a wheelchair, just getting into the restroom was the first challenge. Yeah, they need to be more accessible, and they're not. And when things are accessible, they often put like a plant in the way. Yeah. Andy Rabbit says, PJ, it has happened to me before I knew the plan or the pain. Ed says, Dawn, that's like the number one scary thing. Yeah. Well, I am sure that at QuailCon there will be an appropriate restroom for you to use. JJ says there should be like a live feed for those that can't make it, with a small fee, of course. I know he's talked about that, and I think it's just not been figured out, like what and how and all of that. So he may do that at some point, but I'm not sure how. Don said, my dentist told me he had a handicapped restroom. Luckily, I brought my quad cane in the car. Can't get a walker in the door. No room between the toilet and the wall for a cane. Oh my gosh. Yeah. PJ says, I put my bills on the calendar just to make sure they get paid on time. That is good. Oh, Steve says we're short likes, huh? 17 people and 18 likes. So I think we're good now. Ed says, can't wait to meet everyone. Believe me, I'm nothing special. Hey, Ed, you're a special craft guy. Glowy says, new layers, 9 weeks old. I have 10 hens, only one rooster now, since one got his neck cut or pecked badly. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's probably just give them a few, give them a couple more weeks to kind of equal out. I don't think it's an issue now. It's not going to do any harm to feed their eggshells back to them. Crumple them up. Don't have to be powder or anything. Just, they'll get it. But that won't hurt them at all to do that at that age. But I don't think it's necessary at this point because you're only talking about a couple of them, and their bodies are getting used to laying eggs. I mean, think about it. They lay an egg every single day, sometimes more than once a day. Yeah. Steve is saying, Ed, we think you're special. So special. So special. Yay. Glowy says, I have to try your suggestions of calcium or cuttlebone, Katrina. Good memory. Bottleneck squash leaves okay. Yeah, I think any of the squash leaves that, like, if you're eating the squash, as far as I know, they would be fine. Yeah, they're related to zucchini, right? I think so. Um, all right. JJ says, just a regular nut and not too nice when I'm in pain. If you see me come and run. Andy Rabbit says, JJ, I have a few notebooks and sometimes my phone. Every once in a while, I put everything together in one notebook. So you combine them. Yeah. Oh, JJ says, actually just get quiet when too much pain. Yep. Ed is one of Andy's celebrities. Yay. Oh, you guys jumped. Hang on, I gotta scroll up. Pain sucks the life out of you. Yes, it does, Ed. When I am in pain, sometimes it presents as me being extremely tired, and I don't realize that I'm in pain. I don't know if that happens to anybody else, but yeah. JJ wants to know from Andy Rabbit, does that help with getting organized? Probably. Don wears headsets to distract from pain when doing chores. Never out of pain. Yeah. Berta says, I used to put my air in, won't put in until I get over 80. Oh, your air conditioning? For Lowe's. Yeah. I refuse to put my air on. Won't get on until over 80 for Lowe's. Yeah. Energy efficiency there, right? JJ says, yes, sometimes I'm afraid to sit down or go to sleep because I may not be able to get back up. Oh, no. Yeah, I understand. Andy Rabbit says, JJ, does anything help with that? LOL. It helps me be able to find at least one book when I need to look something up. True. Didn't say it works. It just helps a little. Oh, boy. That's fun. John's here. Welcome, John. Good evening. We are talking about our topic of the day, which is figuring out our struggles, seeing if people can help us with our struggles. We can brainstorm for our struggles for our self-sufficiency. If you have something to add or contribute, let us know. Verna says, there is still some that have not hit the like. Oh. All right, everybody saying hi to John. And John saying hi to everybody. Short Pickens says, I had 2 babies hatch while on here. I may have as well. I hear a couple of them. They might be talking to each other, Nikki. Andy Rabbit says, I'm a spoiled brat. I have to have it cold in the house, so when I come in, I get that instant cool down so I can go back outside faster. You know, I enjoy cooler more than I enjoy hotter, so I understand this. But it does help you in the long run to not run it super cold. I'll have the window cracked at night, like in the winter. Yeah. Ed says, JJ, only time I have getting up is when I fell on the floor and had to crawl from the kitchen to the couch next room, pull myself up. Only took 20 minutes. Yeah, Ed, I know when my grandma was living by herself, there was a phone. We put phones in all the rooms, and there happened to be a phone on the floor in the living room just because there was an extra phone, and that was the place that was left. And she fell getting out of bed or getting back into bed. I'm not sure which, but she could not reach her phone, which was right next to her bed because it was up on the nightstand. So she actually crawled all the way across her bedroom, all the way through the bathroom, all the way across the living room to get to the other phone to call for help. So there's a tip to have some sort of communication on the floor if you are prone to falling. And that did, she would have been there for a lot longer if we didn't have a phone on the floor and she didn't know that it was over there. Yeah. JJ says, I boil then bake like Verna suggested, place an oven after cooking something and have turned off the oven. Works like a charm. You're talking about the eggshells? Yeah. JJ saying that's awesome to Nikki. Andy Rabbit says, I have about 30 cat nail clippers and probably as many more tape measures around the house. Normally I can find at least one within 10 minutes of looking. Yeah, the tape measures disappear. That's for sure. I understand that. So your solution to being disorganized is to get more things so you can find one of them? I like it, Andy. John says, little babies being born or hatched is awesome. Yes, I've had a couple that pipped midday today, and by the time we started the live, at least, nobody was out yet. But something to think about, too, is when you put your babies in for lockdown, when you put your babies into lockdown, and let's say you fill up, like I have the Hovabator, I filled up the largest water tray, and that's supposed to be enough, right? Well, if you look on your secondary hydrometer, which I have a Govee for that, and if you look on that and it's not high enough, well, what do, right? You can put a washcloth, wet it down with warm water, put a washcloth in there. You can put a sponge in there. You can put, anything you want that will hold water in there, and that will increase the humidity, because humidity is not figured based on the amount of water. It's figured based on the surface area of water. So that's something to consider, is that the more surface area you put in there of water, the higher you can get the humidity. And likewise, to reduce that, you would reduce the surface area. So it doesn't matter that it's this deep or this deep in the tray. It matters what the surface area is. So I did have to add in a washcloth this time. I haven't had to for the last couple times, but it's drier now. Yeah. Berta says he doesn't want to do that, Katrina, as it isn't fair to those that... Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I'm talking about Zach and Quokon. Yeah, that's fine. And I know that he had talked about potentials and decided not for this year. So yeah. JJ says, ouch, Ed. Most of the time I'm doing better than that. Sorry you are suffering so much, but glad you're here with us. Absolutely. Steve says, I have that problem. Now I just pick up a new tape measure every time I go to Lowe's. I have tape measure thief around here. Yep. The cheap ones at Harbor Freight work just fine until they don't. But they do work just fine for long enough. They don't really have any more free coupons like they used to, though. So that kind of is a bummer. PJ says, I drive all my eggshells out on the counter for several weeks. Yes, they are handicapped accessible porta potties at QuailCon. Good. That I read that as if it was one sentence. That was two separate sentences. PJ says, I had to take someone in a lot last year. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, so quail lay up to every 18 hours. Yep. And they have a next one on the way. Well, that one's being laid. JJ says, if they pay a fee to watch a stream, that will solve some of the problem. Yeah, that's something that I think after this QuailCon, it's not going to change this year. So that would be something that you could discuss with Zach for next year, potentially. Yeah. Glowy says, I've been making eggshell grind powder from the store-bought chicken eggs. Okay, for years. Coffee grinder works great, and my plants like it. Hooray, I can start feeding them the eggshells too. Yeah, if you're getting it from the store, I would definitely bake the shells. And I did that too. So actually, I have some. I'm going to go show you. Did I say how small this house is? So this is some ground chicken, from this is like from the store before I had chickens even. I mean, this was full. This is baked, ground up chicken eggshells, and I use these mostly on the tomatoes, some on the pepper, but mostly on the tomatoes, which are blooming, guys. My tomatoes are blooming. Yay! I know I'm behind a whole lot of you guys who have not as cool weather as we've been having. But yeah, that works great. Tomatoes really low calcium. Other things do too. Awesome. I jumped. Hang on. Yeah, so Verna says no, it's something special for those that go. Yeah. Like I said, that's nothing's gonna change this year at least, and you're always welcome to bring up potential ideas for change in the future. I wouldn't do that now though. I would wait until after QuailCon is over. Ed says I have no knees. They're totally shot and have been for years. Uh-oh. So it's just splintering on bone. That is not good, Ed. John says, I would like to go to QuailCon. However, I live in Florida and have a lot of obligations. John, I'm in California and I'm going. I think it's closer to you than it is to me. Airplanes. If you have a lot of, so your limitation right now, your struggle right now is that you have a lot of obligations. I don't know what they are, but you don't need to share them all if you don't want to. But if you have a neighbor watch your animals, that's one. That's one. Say they get to keep all the eggs and they want for that time. Yeah. Steve said I put my eggshells outside in the sunshine for the birds or garden. I only bake if it's human consumption. That works. Yeah. Yeah, Verna. Dawn says, I have a notebook for each project, like quail, hydroponics, dog food, etc. That is a good way to do it. As long as you know where your notebooks are, right? Do you know where your notebooks are? No worries, John says. Yep. Chloe says, I can't thank you all enough for everyone's advice and help. You're welcome. It's a good topic today, right? Not that you couldn't already say that stuff anyway, but it's just a good topic. You're welcome. Hey, Malik is here. Welcome. Says hello. Glad you joined us. Ed says, I can leave my footprint in one of Zach's cow pies, kind of like they do for celebrities in California. I don't think cow pies is what they use. I think it's a star. And I do not suggest stepping on a cow pie. I'm a wildlife biologist by trade. You guys know that. And when I was in school, we had a field class, and one of my classmates, I don't know why, because people are young and silly. He decided he was going to jump from cow patty to cow patty. If you don't know about these things, cow patties, they stick around for a very long time if they are not spread out by chickens or other things. And so they're just these little, discs. And he jumped on one that he thought was dry. It was dry on the top, not on the bottom. And he went whoop, and slid all the way through, like his whole body slid through the cow patty. It was nasty. And we made him rinse off before he got back in the van. So no stepping on cow patties. Everybody's saying hi to Malik. Welcome. And Dawn says knees are the same. Verna's getting coffee. All right. Andy says, Steve, I pick up a tape measure when I go to the Dollar Tree, Harbor Freight, or whenever I see a cheap one somewhere. My tape measure thief only gets a cheap one. Andy Rabbit, you could make those into slap bracelets, the ones that break, right? You guys remember slap bracelets where you go and it goes around? Yeah. JJ said, love the idea, Ed. A walk of fame, but of course, just make them look like cow patties. Oh, he's talking about the real stuff, I think. Standing just crushes more bones. Oh. I'm sorry, guys. Makes me appreciate my knees. Ed says, Dawn, have you tried a tens unit? It helps me, but I have to turn it all the way up. Interesting. I don't know what that is. Always have the window cracked, JJ. Yep. Fresh air. Don says, I have 3 tens units. Oh my gosh. Only feels a bit better when it's running. As soon as it's off, everything's right back. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And JJ says, those are irritating. Ed says, yeah, I was the only one home and my phone was on the couch. Yeah, and I don't know. I didn't really think of any of that until my grandma experienced stuff. And it's like, well, yeah, you should have something accessible from the floor. Because if you can crawl or army crawl, which is what my grandma did, couldn't believe she had that much upper body strength that she got there. I don't know how long it took her. And then having some sort of emergency something on the phone or on the ground or something is a good idea. Andy says, at night I don't have the air down as low. I just have fan near me. Yes, I do have battery operated fans. I use outside too, and I'm taking them with me to QuailCon. I like fans. I'm a fan of fans. Malik is saying hi again. Hello again. John says, struggles. I was watching a YouTube video about Victory Garden. The guy was saying the engineered food shortage inflation can be overcome by industrious people. I don't really know about all of that, but I do know that if you have even a little bit of space, you can grow a lot of food. I am on a 7,000 square foot lot. And if you guys didn't know that, that's what I am on. It's a regular city lot. And I grow all of our own meat. Unless we want beef, then we go out. All of our own meat and the quail and the rabbits, our own eggs with the quail and the chickens. Over 40 fruit trees. We grow a lot of our food and the vegetables and all the fruits, really, except for bananas and other things that we tend to want, but you don't need it. And pretty much if you don't eat grain and you don't eat milk, or you get those things from somewhere else, you can grow all of your own food on a property of this size. If you totally max it out. I have not maxed it out. But if you're just starting, John, if you're just starting and you don't have a lot of space or you don't have a lot of time, I recommend the green stalks, and that there should be a link in the description of this video and all the videos for $10 off your first purchase. And the green stalks is a vertical planter, and you can fit tons of plants in this much space, and it doesn't take as much time to manage because it's going to be basically weed free because it's going to be in a vertical planter, and not much back and forth with the weedy situations. And you just need to water it and fertilize it because it is a tower. It is a container garden. But I recommend that if you are in a super, super small place. Like if you're in an apartment with a balcony, like you can grow a lot of your own food there. But yeah, I think if everybody grew some sort of food, we would be in a better situation. I think local food it's classified as being within 100 miles. So 100 miles is a long way, So I think if you have, 40 feet, that's going to have much, much fresher food for sure. Yeah, and things might not be as shelf stable because you didn't pick it, 3 weeks early. But they're going to be good, and you can preserve your own food. So, yeah. Ed says, Don, yep, takes the edge off. When it's off, it hurts. Oh. Steve says, John, you amongst industrious people now. Yep. Yeah, we get things done here, right? Don says, I do the heating pad most if it's not summer. It's already hot then, right? Erica says, I run the air conditioner at 78. I need the moving air and the dehumidification more than cold. Yeah, I lived in the Midwest for a while, and I did not even know a dehumidifier was a thing, but it is, and it pulls water out of the air, which is pretty darn cool. In case you didn't know that. Yeah. Welcome back, Myrna. JJ says, where I live, there are only about 1 out of 100 that are being industrious. Then there are tons of people that just swindle and steal. Yeah. Ed says, Donna, try to keep the house around 73 or around. Wife is always freezing. Give her a sweater. Give her a sweater. That is warm. Yeah, Dawn says winter temp is 72, summer is 78. I don't have air conditioning, so it is what it is. I close doors and close windows and close curtains when it gets really hot. When I painted my house, it used to be this very, very weird red purple color, and I painted it light blue. A side effect of that is that it reflected heat a whole lot more, which is great. So if you're in a warm area, paint things light. There you go. Andy Rabbit says, Katrina, I just buy one color of the cat clippers. That way I don't seem like I have so many. Does that count for something? I mean, that's organization, right? JJ says, I complain to my hubby that he is causing me hypothermia when the house is below 70. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And Don's laughing at Andy. I scrolled too far. Hang on. Hang on. Ed says, oh, I hear babies. I hear babies. Ed says, LOL, tell wife you can put on more clothes. I can take only off so many skin doesn't come off. Yep. John says, thieves need old school. Oh. Steve says, do they still sell eggs at the store? Been so long since I had to buy any. Wasn't sure. I think the emergency is over pretty much. I haven't heard anything, but I also haven't looked lately. I haven't heard anything though. So there you go. Short Pickens says, the babies took me by surprise. I didn't hear anything from them or see any pips today. Oh, wow. They're just sneaky ones. It's okay to have quiet babies. Verna says, I have 1 tomato so far. I saw that on your video, Verna. I'm hoping for tomatoes soon. I'm ready for them. Ed says, oh, speaking of tomatoes, I finally have flowers on mine on the front porch. Yay. I have flowers on mine as well. So I need to tuck them into the cattle panel because that is my trellis, and go from there. I do not prune my tomatoes because we don't have a moisture issue here, but I know, as I understand it, people in humid areas prune their tomatoes. Do you guys do that? To avoid diseases? JJ has a bunch of green tomatoes. Andy says, I ate my first ripened tomato today, day before yesterday. It was just a tiny cherry tomato. Well, they're always the first ones, right? Steve says, we love fried green tomatoes. That's why we can't get a red one. You can also make salsa out of that and curry. There you go. Dawn says, my hydroponic tomato I just started earlier this month is forming blossoms already. That is awesome. That is awesome. Ed says, Steve, I make fried green tomatoes for my wife. I don't like tomatoes, and they don't like me. Britta says, if the shells are from your birds, you don't have to bake them to feed them to your birds, but you do for human consumption. Yeah. Nikki says, Andy, I'm jealous. My tomatoes haven't ripened yet. Yeah, mine are still in flower form. They just started. I think some of the tomato plants are like that tall. So they're coming. My heat tolerant tomatoes, and we don't have a hot summer, but I am okay with that. Dawn says, my notebooks are all in a chair in the dining room. I understand this. That is a notebook chair. JJ says, when I store anything like eggshells, I want them to start off sterile. That way they don't stink later. Good idea. Ed, I don't know why you're laughing at me, but you are. JJ says, ick about sliding through. Oh, is that what you're laughing about? Yeah, sliding through the cow patties. It was really funny until we realized that he had to get back in the van with us. Yeah, it was really funny. Because I think all of us were telling him not to do it. And then it's like, oh, there we go. And Verna says, that's why I bake them. John says, cow patties also grow mushrooms. They do. They do. Andy Rabbit says, I planted mostly cherry tomatoes this year. My freezers are full. I only have a couple large tomatoes. Something to do with cherry tomatoes that I really liked. I started with Sweet 100, and the ones that I have now is whatever comes up. Volunteers, that's babies from that. Not really babies from it, but like ancestry, I guess. And what I do is I've cut them in half and put them on the dehydrator, and I like them better after they've been dehydrated. And then I throw them in things. I can throw them in soups. I can throw them in eggs. If you start with that kind of first, if you're doing like eggs and chard or something like that, you put that in there first so it has time to rehydrate a little bit. And it just seems like it has a better flavor after it's been dehydrated for me. Yeah. Andy Raz says slap bracelets are making a comeback. That's a cool idea, Katrina. My granddaughter will thank you. Just make sure the edges aren't sharp. John says, really? Slap bracelets are back. Look back to that era. See what else is going to be back. You might get in on the good start. Dawn says, Katrina, I don't concentrate on pain or think about it when it's past bearable. The headsets are on and I concentrate on something else. Don't talk about pain either. Don't focus on it. Well, we should stop talking about it, Dawn. Otherwise, you're going to be hurting quite a bit now. JJ says, Ed, have you ever tried using comfrey balm on those knees? I was told by old timers to use chicken fat on my joints. I've heard that before. But my dog wouldn't leave me alone, and I was afraid of being attacked by bears. JJ, that looks like it should be a comic. Ed says, Andy, I have a DeWalt 20-volt battery powered fan. Love mine. Use it every day. Battery low lasts 24 hours. Wow. Bring it to work on. Yes, Verna, I did see your yarrow. It's looking great. It's looking really good. I'm so glad that made it. JJ says to Verna, your yarrow looks pink. Very pretty. Yeah, it's that light pink. Yeah, I sent that to her. Okay, you guys skipped again. Okay. Ed says, no, never heard that. Well, check it out. All right. Fans run on a 18650 battery. They are small, but works. Andy, is that like a watch battery? Because I don't know what that is otherwise. Is that like one of those flat ones? What is yarrow? Is it a southern name for a wheelbarrow? No, it is not, John. I have a video that you should check out. I think it's even called All About Yarrow. It might be. Yarrow is a plant. It's a flower, and people use it for lots of things medicinally. One of the things it's used for is to the leaf is used to stop bleeding. So like if on a cut, I am not a medical professional, I'm not a doctor, don't give medical advice from me. However, from what I've heard, that's what happens. And I have dried the leaves, and I do have it in the bathroom in case something small, not like a cut that cuts off your finger, but in case something small happens. And it does actually work. I did actually test it out, and it actually it stops the bleeding really quickly. So carpenter's wart or warrior's wart is another name for that, because carpenters or warriors would tuck a leaf into their belt and say, okay, I have this just in case. And then it can also be used, and again, not a medical professional, not getting medical advice. You can look this up for your own. And anytime you use medicinal anything, make sure you look at reputable sources for medicine. But it also is used as a sleep aid, and there are potential interactions with it if you have a blood condition. I don't know what that means. That's just what I read. But other than that, it's pretty. It has a nice little flat flower bundle, and so like things like hoverflies, it gives them a nice flat thing to land on, and those are predators of other things, which is really good. And then it also can be added to a compost to jumpstart the compost. And it is said to improve the flavor of herbs planted nearby. That's a big, long thing, right? You still go watch the video. See if I missed anything. JJ laughing. Dawn says, I tried Comfrey Salve years ago. It's just a topical. I bought 1 pound organic and made salve too. Topicals don't get to the bones on me. Okay. Hey, Diana's here. Welcome, Diana. Hey, all late was doing chores. Understand. Welcome. Will says, Katrina, have a video on it. Yep, I do. You can just type in Yarrow and it will come up. Go to my channel, type in Yarrow, it will come up. Thank you, JJ. Everybody saying hi to Diana. And Andy Rabbit's laughing at John. JJ says, I have to apply it constantly for it work. Okay. That says, Andy took up the fan. Look up the fan. They make 2 kinds of battery only, or battery and plug-in. Okay. All major tool companies make them. Oh, it's one of the ones for like by construction sites. I know what you're talking about, I think. Verna says, my snow peas are finally flowering. Good. We like that. Dawn says, JJ tried that. No topical gets to the bone. That's why it's topical. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Andy Rabbit says, Ed, I know the fan you're talking about. I had one years ago. Oh, X got it. The important stuff, right? And the stuff that makes you feel better. Doesn't work for you either, Rena says, topical meds for pain. Everybody's different, and that's something else to realize, is that everybody's different in their pain tolerance, and everybody's different in how medicines work too. Yeah. Dawn's getting off. Have a good night, everyone. Got to get off the internet now. Have a good night, Dawn. JJ's asking, have you ever heard of placing an electric toothbrush to vibrate the tomato flowers it causes for fertilization? So I have heard of that. I kind of don't understand it unless you're indoors. So if you're indoors and you don't have pollinators, that might be a good way to do it. But a big pollinator of tomatoes are bumblebees, and they're called bumblebees because they bumble. They go like this, and they do that, and they shake the pollen. So yeah, I think that is just simulating a bee, and potentially more realistically a bumblebee. Bees also do that, or the bees also pollinate, but the bumblebees, they do this whole like bumbly dance thing. Yeah. So I have heard of that, not for garden, but I have heard of that for indoor stuff. Everybody saying good night to Dawn. Chloe says, my Roma tomatoes have been producing for over a month, but thanks to the heat, they're all splitting as they are mature now. Aww. I wonder if you put some shade cloth over them, if that would help. I mean, won't help the ones right now, but it'll help. It could help the ones coming up. Truck 3 says, I prune all tomato leaves that touch the ground. They seem to get diseased really fast, otherwise, even with ground cover. Yeah, it's so dry here in the summer. I don't have that issue here, but I know it is an issue. Yeah. John says a hot bath works well for my muscle pains. Add Epsom salt to that, and you will increase that greatly. I think 20 minutes, I think, is how long it should be. 20 minutes or more for everything to get into the body. Epsom salts are great. I've used that when I'm not feeling great, like if I'm just like out of it, I do that. Or if I sprain an ankle or some injury, I do that. Yeah. Ed says, Truck 3, yes, I pluck those lower leaves branches too. Andy Rabbit says, yes, Katrina, cherry tomatoes will be going in dehydrators. I love them that way. And my granddaughter loves dried tomatoes also. She'd rather eat them than potato chips. Not a fan of potato chips. Corn chips, sure. Potato chips, why would you do that to a potato? It could be mashed with gravy. Ed says, Andy, that's the only way I like tomatoes. Wife loves them. I ordered them from Sam's Club, 3 pounds mixed cherry tomatoes. Awesome. Andy Rabbit's talking about the battery is mostly a flashlight battery, stronger than a D, almost the size of a double A. Huh, and rechargeable. Now I learned something. Interesting. Andy Rabbit says, cherry tomatoes are good. I have the Sweet 100s. That's the one that I did too. Sun Gold or something like that. And pear tomato this year. We had a yellow pear tomato many, many years ago. My neighbor had them in her yard, and the year after she had them in her yard, it grew in the crack between our walkways, between the houses. And that crack was like this big. Neither one of us was watering it. And that thing grew. It grew 17 feet long and 10 feet wide, which is as wide as the houses are. So, and 7 feet tall. And so, yeah, very prolific, very good. That one is also best eaten either fresh or dried, I think. Mostly fresh for that one. But yeah, Ed says, I don't remember what I planted. And it just, let's see. You jumped. Don't remember what I planted. That's flowering, so surprise. Well, if it's a tomato, it's a tomato. It should be a tomato. If it's not a tomato, I'd be concerned. Andy says, I still like my bee venom cream. Yep, you are liking that stuff. JJ says, I have a bunch of stinging nettle you could roll in. A little bit of that sting, and then nothing will bother you, right? Verna says, Epsom salts are good for helping bruises to heal faster, and sprains too. Yeah. Chuck 3 says, I used to do the bee venom shots for MS. Didn't work for me, but it did for a friend. See, medicine is different for all of us, for sure. Andy Rabbit says, Ed, I don't remember what big tomatoes I bought this year. I don't know where anything is planned. My hubby was sweet enough to plant them for me, but he doesn't mark them. Well, you will have an adventure. I planted heat-tolerant tomatoes this year, and I have not planted any of them before. So we will see how they do. So far, it's not hot. I'm hoping it doesn't get hot, but we'll see how they taste at least, and see how they fruit. Not all tests are done in the ideal test condition, which I am okay with. Ed says, surprise to Andy Rabbit. And JJ's laughing. Andy Rabbit says, Epsom salt can help sunburn too, blossom end rot, and to help plants take up nutrients too. I have heard that about the blossom end rot and the nutrient uptake. I have not used it that way because I I just know that salt is not great in the garden. I know a little bit of Epsom salt is fine. I don't know. I'm just not on board yet. I have heard that though, so I guess as long as you don't do too much, right? JJ says, "Yep, I have many allergies to over-the-counter drugs, so I tend to use herbals and natural oils." Yep. Chloe says, "This year I'm having a massive ant infestation. Tried so many things, and they are still winning. Just picking one tomato or one squash, I'm bad. I'm bite bad. It's not making gardening any fun right now." Chloe, do you have? Is it the fire ants or is it like regular ants? Because I have two potential solutions for you. One, I don't want to like send your quail into fire ant territory, but if it's like a regular ant, quail will eat up ants. We have Argentine ants, which are little tiny, and they will eat them up. So if you want to put them like in a dog crate with the bottom open, or something like that, and see if they do a cleanup job for you, they might. They might. Um, they might do it. So it's worth trying. Maybe don't put the last male in there. Maybe just put a few females in there. But then if you have that and they like them, then you've just fed your quail high protein food for free. So that's a good thing. If that doesn't work, then taro, Tero, I think, is a ant poison, and I have used that here, and it does work. So I would try the quail first, but if that doesn't work, the taro is pretty good, and I don't think it affects other animals, which is nice, or insects. Andy Rouse says it's been 97 here this week. Oh my gosh, that is too hot. Truck 3 says, my plants were marked, but the puppy tornado removed most of them. So I will be surprised when they produce fruit. It's okay. It's okay. Berna says, everything in moderation. Yep. JJ says, ouch, Glowy. I learned the hard way that Ohio has fire ants. Glowy says, regular black ants. Try the quail and then let us know what happens. Yeah. Berna says, I haven't seen any fire ants in Ohio. Okay. I don't know. We don't have them here. We just have the only ants I've ever seen at this property is the Argentine ants, which is the teeny tiny black ants. Andy Rout says, Kalmeg is Epsom salt. I don't know what that is. Epsom salt is not true salt. I don't know why it's called salt. Okay. Maybe just because it's a a mineral, and people associate it with salt. Good to know. Hey, Bob's here. Welcome, Bob. Put quail in a chicken tractor for ant feast? Yes. So that is where the raviary is, which is the quail and the rabbits. When I put the quail in there, and I decided, okay, I'm gonna put all the wood chips in here and make this actually for quail as well. There was an ant. They don't really do ant hills here, but there was an ant colony there that I kind of dug up when I moved some leaves, and I was like, oh great, well, let's see what happens. And I put them in there, and they just went to town on it, and within a couple of days the whole colony was gone. So whether they moved or got all eaten, I know they're eating a bunch, I don't know, but that did work. And I would think that it would probably work for ants that are not like the ones that take over the world, like fire ants I've heard do. Yeah. So I wouldn't suggest it for like a fire ant situation, but it's worth trying on the ones that are calmer. Yeah. Glory says, so the ants won't attack the quail. I don't know. That's the thing. You're gonna have to look and be there, observing for a while. I don't know what ants you have out there. If they're Argentine ants, then they won't. But if they're fire ants, I don't know, they might. So I wouldn't do it for them. But Are they attacking you if you just walk in there? Are they attacking you specifically, like going after you? Then don't do it. But then use Tara. Verna says it is magnesium sulfate. I think it's more than magnesium sulfate though, isn't it? Epsom salt. Truck 3 says we sprinkle tobacco on ant hills, and that works for us on the hills in the pasture. Interesting. I would not expect that, but interesting. JJ says, I've seen them as far north as Canada, but found 2 nests in my backyard about 4 years ago. Wow. That is really far north for fire ants. Bob says fire ants will attack quail, eat them alive. So yeah, if it's fire ants, don't do it. Yeah. I would definitely observe them while they're out there doing that. And if it's the wrong kind of ant, you can yank the birds back and put them back in their hutch. Andy says Epsom salt will knock out a lot of yellowing in leaves, and nitrogen will help. Okay. And Erica says Amduro is a good ant poison that works for fire ants too. I know nothing about fire ants except for I heard they hurt, and I don't know about that that product, but I have experience with taro, and it works. But I also don't have experience with fire ants. I need to look up Cal Mag. Is calcium magnesium? I'm going to put it in my search thing up here and look for it. I'll look at it after we're done. Bob says we have red ants harvester, and thereby it hurts, but not like fire ants. Luckily, we have horny toads that love to eat the harvester ants. Cool. Verna says CalMag is a grower's shorthand for referring to fertilizers that supply a plant with additional sources of calcium and magnesium. Okay. Cool. Calcium and magnesium are considered secondary macronutrients. This means that a cannabis plant requires greater amounts of calcium and magnesium in comparison to micronutrients. Okay, you're quoting something that I don't know what it is. Yeah, both of those are good nutrients to have. Steve says Epsom salt contains magnesium, sulfur, and oxygen because it comes out granulated like salt. They call it salt. Okay. I just know it helps when you're hurt in a bath. And I have used it on both young rabbits and a quail to help them, and it actually worked. So the rabbit, and I have videos of both of those. If you look up Epsom salt or just Epsom on my channel, then you can see those videos. One of them I think I entitled Hurt Baby Bunny or Hurt Bunny. And I found it dangling by its back leg from the hay basket. So those went away. And I don't know how long it had been like that. It was in the morning. And Mom had been underneath it, kind of propping it up as it could. But I thought that the leg was broken, but it wasn't. I think it was just sprained. It probably had a sprained ankle. It dragged it for a long time, but I did give it massages and give it little therapy. Had like this leg a lot, and little massages, and I did the Epsom salt. And I did it a few times. And at the time I had a sprained ankle, so I was doing the same thing with me, going through it together. And it completely healed. And by the time we processed it, because it was a meat rabbit, it was, you couldn't tell which was which is really, really nice. And then for the quail, I wouldn't use it on a quail, except for I had just saved like 3 males. And this male, I went out there and I'm like, what are you doing? It was walking with his leg like this. I'm like, what are you doing? So I felt it and it didn't feel like it was broken or anything. And I did the Epsom salt and massage and all that. And he survives. So he was one of my breeders, and he got hurt like as soon as I culled the other ones. And he's out there right now. Probably. I think so. I think he's still out there. Yeah. JJ says, all I know is that the film crew that were native, the film crew that were native to the area said they were fire ants. They attacked, and they were covered with huge welts. It wasn't pretty. Wow. Bob says you can try DE. It tears up joints and skeleton joints and makes ant die. Yeah, DE, diatomaceous earth, we talk a lot about not using in dust baths for quail unless you are actually treating something. Some people recommend it. I don't recommend it because it is like fiberglass in your lungs. It's actually little teeny tiny bodies of like ancient crustacean little guys. And it is like glass, like little tiny glass shards. But it does work for insect control because it's like teeny tiny glass shards. So that is something you can use. I think I've also heard people using borax with ants. Yeah, there's several different ways you can try. Try feeding your quail first, and if they start getting attacked, take them off and make sure you get all the ants off before you put them back. But or just go straight to any of these products. Yeah, good call, Bob. Andy says tomato and pepper plants are very close to cannabis plant. Okay. And CalMag is also a brand name. Ed says fire ants are no joke. I've never been in contact with them, and I never want to be. Yeah. Erica says our place sat empty long enough that fire ants took over. I've lost count of the mounds. Makes cleanup out there less than fun. Wow. Yeah. You need a solution, don't you? I'm sorry. I've heard putting some from one colony onto another colony and they'll get into a war, but I don't have any experience with that. That is a problem that you need solved, Erica. Yeah. Bob says chemist told me orthrine makes a gas heavier than air, so it goes into the ant nest and does the deed. I used to hold my breath when applying the powder to the mound. Yeah. We all have masks now, right? You can use an N95 when you use that stuff. Yeah. Wow, so answer the issue now, huh? Answer the topic. So we have all sorts of things to try and kill them. Is there anything preventative that people have found? The one thing that was preventative that I've seen someone do is cinnamon. And it was a little bit ridiculous. I went and I stayed the night at someone's house on the boric acid, not just borax. Thank you, Verna. That is what I was thinking. Boric acid, not borax. Thank you. And they had an ant problem. The ants had gotten in the house and they're like trying to be all organic about it. Anteater. There you go. Ed has an answer, an anteater. They might eat the anteater. And they had piles of cinnamon. I don't know how much they spent on it. Piles of cinnamon along the whole baseboards, along the windowsills, by the door, everything. And it worked. The ants did not cross the cinnamon. Yeah. Yeah. It worked. So is there anything else like that might be a little funky that you can, they will avoid that? JJ's also saying boric acid. That's what I meant. I didn't mean to say other. Yeah. Cinnamon, red pepper, powder, mix equal parts. All right. Yeah, you'd have to invest in a lot of cinnamon, though, Erica. At least we only have 7 acres to clean up. Well, that's 7 acres of fire ants is not my idea of fun. Andy Rabbit says, when my son was 2 years old, my daughter came down with chicken pox. The doctor saw both kids and said she wasn't sure if my son had fire ant bites or chicken pox. Wow. JJ says, when I move to a new place that I use boric acid, if I can find it, or borax and DE, just in case on all floorboards and behind appliances. That's a preventative tip. That's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. And Bob's agreeing with Verna. Cayenne pepper. Cayenne pepper is good for a lot of things. It's good for a lot of things. Yeah. Well, this is good. I wanted to remind you guys about the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group. And I have not been online much this week, so unfortunately I only had a post about happy first day of spring. Of not spring, of summer. I have to look and see. I'm looking for the link. Let's see. Anyway, Friends of Sow and Tare. I made that. Announced it last week, and here we go. Let's maybe do this. Here we go. So here's the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group. And the reason I did this is that so we would have a place that you guys can actually go and continue conversations. So it sounds like we have a couple different conversations, probably mostly this ant conversation that you guys can, if you like came up with something later, or maybe someone's watching after the fact, and they like, oh, I have a really good idea that wasn't brought up. You can put it in the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group, and everybody will be able to see that and continue the conversation, which is really good. So that's something that that I'd like you guys to participate in, and just got started, so I don't have very much on it yet. But I think that would be a great thing to continue on there. If people think of things, or maybe have success with things, or have immediate questions, I think that'd be a good place there. So if you haven't signed up for that yet, sign up for that. Make sure you answer the questions and agree to the group rules, because it just is testing to make sure you're a human and that you're going to pay attention. There you go. All right. Let's zoom back up here. Base Play says, Yeppers Bob, about the cayenne. Yep. Andy Rabbit says, I had fire ants kill 2 litters of baby rabbits that were about 1 week old when I was in Texas. Oh my gosh, that's a reason not to live in Texas. Goodness. Steve says 20 mule team will work too. That's borax. That's borax from Death Valley in California. JJ says, I use cayenne pepper to keep the neighborhood's cats out of the garden and off the car. It works, but doesn't harm them. Something else that works to keep cats out of your garden is to make a fortress out of forks. I've done this with plastic forks, before the compostable forks came out. And I just made 2 layers with the fork sticking up, made like layers like this, and made like a little castle wall, and it worked. No more cat massacres of seedlings. Verna says, yeah, got a dog that likes to sniff the garbage or get into it. Sprinkle the top with cayenne pepper powder. All right. Poor Lucy. Ed says, have an unopened box of 20 mule team borax for making crystals. What do you not make, Ed? What do you not make? Glowy says, I have done the cinnamon trick in the backyard. Didn't work. Tried cedar chips, red chili pepper, boric acid, cayenne pepper, castle soap mixed with veggie oil and water. None have worked. I bet your yard smells interesting, though. It might be time to get out of ant poison. Or try the birds. Supervise them. JJ says, Andy, once they attack, they don't quit. I have no experience with them and don't want any experience with them. That's how I feel about fire ants. JJ says, I used repeated boiling water on their mounds, but I only had 2. It's another idea. And JJ says, great idea about forks. It has to be a double layer, about that far apart. And they don't jump up, at least the one here. Mr. King or Mr. Prince. I don't know which one it was. The neighbor's kids named the cat. JJ, Chloe says, thanks. I'll try that too. We're going to try everything, huh? Oh, you're not on Facebook? That's fine. That is fine. You're on here. We can talk here. Andy Rabbit says, we flooded an anthill, let the water hose run for about an hour or 2. They disappear after we forgot to turn the hose off. Oh my gosh. I've heard of people making castings out of the anthills. I think it was more of a scientific, research of how the chambers are, and they poured. I mean, the quail, they probably killed every single one in there in doing this, but they pour in the liquid metal. I don't remember what kind it was, and then it made a cast and they dug it out. So it looked pretty cool, but I don't think you can do that for every single one. Well, unless you can sell them. Maybe there's a market, Erica. You could do that and sell it. Somebody would buy it. Yeah. Go to Facebook, yeah. JJ says, I guess maybe it would work, but you have a large area. Yeah. Ed says molten aluminum poured down a fire ant colony kills them and makes for cool artwork. Yep, that's what I was talking about. Maybe rent an aardvark, JJ says. I don't know if you rent it and the fire ants eat it. All right, we have fireworks. I don't know if you guys can hear that. A little early for fireworks, by the way. The sun is still out. Why? Verna says, that is so true, Ed. Andy Rabbit says, Ed, that would make cool artwork. It does. There's videos about that online. Chloe says, oh my gosh, I love the aardvark idea. Got one for me to rent? Look around. Erica says, I've always wanted to try the molten aluminum. You have opportunity. You have ample opportunity, and maybe duct tape your, shoes to your pants when you try it. You have an opportunity. That's all I'm saying. Verna says, I hate this time of year. Yeah, the fireworks. It used to be a lot worse here. I think a lot of people got fined last year, and they finally got serious about it. They had drones out looking for people that are doing it illegally. This town has been known for a lot of illegal fireworks, but this year it's been relatively fine. It used to be every single night, boom, 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 daytime, nighttime. It's why? Celebrating whatever, Wednesday. I don't know. But now that's the first one I've heard in a really, really, really long time. And it makes sense because it's kind of coming up on 4th of July. And the big ones are illegal here. So there you go. Yeah. JJ says, sounds like a gunshots from here. Yeah, it did, except for I heard the ch that goes after it when it does the sparky part. This technical term. Ed says, I have a melt pot and furnace, just need to fire it up. All right, Ed, you're going over to Erica's house and Chloe's house, right? You're gonna travel? have molten aluminum will travel? That would be an interesting job. Just not lost. Bob says, fire ants bring the queen close to the surface every morning. I've taken a pot of boiling water and snuck softly out there to pour it on. Worked well. Actually took extension cord and plugged it in close by. Wow. Okay. Why did they take her to the top? I know nothing about this. Yeah, Verna, it's hard for Lucy and you both. Yeah. and it's supposed to be like celebrating our country, but like all the people who, you know, have some post-traumatic stress from, you know, bombs and shooting and things that sound like fireworks, not very respectful, I think. Yeah. JJ says, okay, then no aardvark, just ret ed. Steve says, ask your local zoo if they rent out their aardvarks. I don't know about that. Reads the cards of his man. Ed. Bob says, if they feel vibration from walking, they take her down lower. If you don't kill the queen, you're wasting time. Okay. So they're kind of like bees that way? Interesting. Easier to feed the queen? Okay. Yeah. Andy says, Steve, you just gave me another cool animal I can get for a reason. Yeah, a reason and a job, right? Steve says, Andy, don't blame that on me. I'm in enough trouble with your manatises. Yeah, I agree, JJ. Very interesting about bringing the queen to the surface. I knew they had a queen, but I didn't know anything about any of that. Andy's laughing. Laughing. Oh, boy. Well, guys, we are at 8:02. Does anybody have some pressing thing to talk about or question to ask before we call it a night? Give it a minute. I think we had a good ant discussion. Our organization and ants were our two things we ended up talking about today. All right. It looks like maybe people are done talking. So I appreciate you guys coming out for this. And a reminder of the Friends of Sow and Tare Facebook group. And then also and here is the website that is up, and they have and it has a place on there for an email list. So if you would like to be on the email list, you can sign up for that. I'm going to be doing monthly emails and newsletter, so that is what to expect for that. I'm not going to blast you. Every once in a while, if something happens or something becomes available, there might be an extra email in there, but it's going to be a monthly thing. All right. Andy says, I just put some eggs in the incubator today. Hubby, don't even say why this time. Oh, boy. JJ says, just thank you for the live and all the interesting advice in chat. You're welcome. Thank you for coming and being involved. Phone. I don't know what you're talking about, Verna. We're calling. Steve says, sometimes you just learn to deal with it. Yeah, the fireworks or the ants. Oh, Andy Rose said he finally has accepted you, just hatching whatever you want. It says, good night. Stay safe out there. You as well. Andy Rabbit says, good night. Or good live tonight. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you for coming. And Erica says, I would love if people pray for my daughter. All right. Hoping that she is doing okay. I don't know the situation, but I'm hoping that she is going to get through whatever she needs to get through. All right. We're going to call it a night, guys. Oh, we have more information. Erica says she's in the hospital because of multiple seizures yesterday. Oh, my goodness. Yes. Hopefully they get that under control and figure out why, because that is not a fun thing. Not a fun thing at all. Yeah, hopefully they find out why and are able to figure out a solution. Sorry about that, Erica. Yeah, everybody's saying sorry and pray. Yeah. All right, guys, we will see you next week. I don't know what's going on with my videos this week. I'm hoping to get a video out on Thursday. Hopefully, the people will come back, or I will. The editing people will come back to me and say, "Here's what to do." Other than that, I might try something different. Hopefully, I'll have one out by Thursday. That's my goal. Oh, she's too much pregnant, so we're concerned about babies. Wow. Oh my gosh, Erica, that spins a whole nother thing on it, doesn't it? All right, let's hope the doctors figure out what's going on and that the baby's okay and everything, because that's stressful. I'm sorry. All right, guys, we will see you next Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and have a great week. And we will all be thinking of Erica's daughter and her baby. All right, have a good night, guys.